Good morning from the Midwest RepRap Fest in Goshen, Indiana. It's just opened up on Saturday morning. The crowd isn't here yet, so I figured it'd be a good time to do a tour. We're gonna walk around, check out Midwest RepRap Fest. It's just a big 3D printing festival. It happens once a year here in Goshen, Indiana. I'll give you a quick tour. I'm gonna be doing in-depth interviews with a lot of these folks, but those are for members only. So if you wanna see those interviews, you have to go to make.co and log in there and watch those videos. All right, let's get on with the tour. Coming in the front entrance here, we have Prusa printers and Lulzbot right here at the entrance. Let's take a quick loop around and just look at some of the stuff going on here at RepRap Fest. Of course, check in, we've got the swag and the first of many Vorons you're gonna see at this event. This is a Voron V0. It's a good looking printer. So let's come around here and do a quick loop. So we have the Cocoa Press. This is a chocolate printer. It's not printing at the moment. As I said, the gates just opened, but we can see here these are actual 3D printed pieces of chocolate, and the print quality is insane for chocolate. If you have ever tried to or seen 3D printed chocolate, that is insane quality. These are the pattern to print is what this is called. These are lithophanes that are full color. Very cool stuff. We've got some 3D printing here. This is the Lightburn booth. We'll get back to that in a bit. Duet 3D is here showing off their systems. We've got a little custom CNC machine here. Little belt printer action with some radio controlled cars. Big custom printer. Slice Engineering is showing off their hot ends here. Let's just take a real quick fly through of their extruders over here on the wall. All right, STL Denise, Edge of Tech. Oh, here we have the Jelly Box you might recognize from a couple years ago in Make Magazine. This is supposed to be assembled in a classroom for education, and it has a whole curriculum that goes along with it that allows the students to learn how it works. We'll come back and we'll look at that in depth later. All right, we got drag racers and fighting bots. We got more racers over here, racers over there. Got all these crazy looking cars. Here we have Tripod's Garage. You might recognize his name from some articles he's written in the Make magazine. Let's keep going here. KB3D, they do supplies for building your own printers. So we have some pretty impressive looking machines here. Micro Swiss extruder systems, those are very nice. We have the Minton cameras for watching your 3D prints. Cookie CAD. I've heard a lot of people talking about Cookie CAD today, about how beautiful their filaments are. And again, we'll come back and look at this stuff more in depth later. Just beautiful, guys. I'll come back and ask you questions later. Beautiful stuff. Cookie CAD, check it out. We have giant, gorgeous printers here. This is Annex Engineering. They do super engineered, beautiful stuff. Project R3D, lots of ABS printing there. Same with the Oozbots, enclosed, industrial, beautiful. Look at this. These IDEX Oozbot. And I don't know if this is ABS, but last year that's all they were printing. Yeah, it looks like it is. Just beautiful. All right, we missed a row. Let's go back down this row. We've still got a few booths filling out here. They haven't arrived yet, so we're waiting for them. We have Luke's laboratory, and it looks like Luke is building something giant over there. More Vorons everywhere. Everywhere Vorons. Here we have A scanning microscope, I believe. No, that's a rotary tool. So it's like a little CNC. Very cool. We'll be back to look at that later. 3D printer made out of plywood. Been a long time since we've seen a plywood printer. Birch core, very cool. Have some sculptural stuff, lights and sculptures, and here's an interesting one. This is 3D Printy. If you go onto Printables, you can download almost all these files. These are some puzzle boxes, fidgets. Extremely well done engineering on these files. Like fantastic stuff for his CAD. We have chess sets. We have drag racers that are mostly 3D printed. Do a quick flyby. Let's see here. We have Lightburn. That's the software that runs laser cutters and soon to be CNC machines as well. We have My Charity for the gaming stuff, the controller project. That's My Charity. We have 3D Print Pittsburgh. Lots and lots of cool 3D printers. This is software that detects failures on your first layers. We've got an interview with them in the members area. Let's wrap around here. Look at the Lulzbots real quick. There's the Lulzbot Mini. And there's the Taz Pro with the extended bed. Look at that sucker, printing a ship. Very cool. All kinds of action figures from Finnegan Collectibles. We'll come back and ask him about those later in more detail. That looks really interesting. We have some Blast from the Past, a Mendel. Look at that. Let's see here. More general printing, more figures and stuff like that. You can see. We'll come back and get more detail on this later. This is Z Design. Look at that. More Vorons, of course. We have 3D Chameleon, which does multicolor printing with an external box. We'll come back and ask him about that later in detail. But you can kind of see it in action here. He's got multiple ones fed through into there, so it can do multicolor. Very cool stuff. We have Creality here with their printers. They have the K1 on display. Let's see that. We'll come back and ask more about this in a little while. That's the Creality K1. Looking great. We'll come back and I'll ask you a bunch of questions later. All right, we have another IDEX here.
This is a magnetic IDEX.
Magnetic IDEX.
So one motor, one belt.
Oh, that's really cool. I will come back and ask you more about that later. I'm doing a tour right now. Just a quick tour. An old Tico bot. That's fantastic. All right. So you notice that many of the machines here this year are Vorons. We have some model railroad stuff. More custom machines over here. More Vorons. I love the way these little Voron V0s look. They look like little Victorian little aquariums and terrariums. It's a custom machine that's very wide and narrow. Looks beautiful. All right. Let's see here. That's Polymaker, which makes different filaments and filament colors. And I believe they have HueForge here, which is software which allows you to do stuff like that on your 3D printer. We'll come back and ask more about that later, but for now, if you just Google HueForge, you can learn about it. All right. West 3D. It's where you can buy parts to build your 3D printers. More and more Vorons here. So Voron doesn't sell 3D printers. This is the Voron booth. They don't sell 3D printers. They publish the design, and then other people source the parts and build them. It's a very cool community. We're gonna come back and talk to them more later. But they have really taken over, as you can tell, the amount of Vorons everywhere. They have really taken over. It's a beautiful printer. This looks like maybe an old MMU from Prusa, doing multicolor here. Let's see here. We have another wooden printer over here. Oh wow, look at this. Look at this. This is looks like it was built to play the violin. So we have solenoids for controlling the fingering, and we have spinning heads for the strings, but there's no strings on it now, so it must not be working right now. Very interesting. Very interesting. Protopasta here showing off their filaments. We have Big Tree Tech that has all of their controllers for the 3D printers on display here. Most of these Vorons are using Big Tree Tech screens and controllers. So that's all on display. We have Luby 3D. So of course, if you've seen any of these little articulated dragons around on the internet, this is Luby 3D who designed them. We're gonna come back and try to get an interview later. This is beautiful stuff, beautiful files. Luby 3D, you have to look it up. Luby 3D. Fabrico here showing off, again, their printers. They sell 3D printer parts so you can build your own and repair them. Tons of Vorons again. We have Greengate 3D that does recycled PETG. We have Polar Filament, which has some beautiful phosphorescent filaments there. Recycled PETG there. We have IC3D, which sells 3D printer filament as well here, as well as full 3D printers and 3D printer parts. And then Atomic Filament, which is always a crowd favorite. We're gonna loop around here to Prusa. So we have the SL1, we have the Mark IV, and of course the Prusa XL on display here, doing a print. And that's it. So that's the quick 5-minute tour of Midwest RepRap Fest in Goshen, Indiana. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was quick, I know it was simple, but I got a lot to get through today and a lot of interviews to do with individuals. If you want to see those interviews, go to make.co and you'll find those interviews there. In-depth interviews with lots of the people. Or you can scroll on this channel back to last year. I did some interviews that I published publicly as well. I'll see you online.